starting off with number 10, gagging order. Queen Elizabeth's former dresser, Angela Kelly, has been presented with a new grace and favor home in the north of England after she was forced out of her Windsor digs on agreement that she won't reveal any more royal secrets. The Mail says the senior palace aide acting for King Charles presented Kelly with a new non-disclosure agreement to sign as part of the deal. A source told the Mail that the agreement was essentially a gagging order preventing Kelly from using the words king and palace for commercial purposes. Kelly was expected to write a third book about her royal role, but the Mail says the agreement may imping on, if not outright torpedo that. Charles, the paper says, wanted to both honor his late mother's wishes by providing Kelly with a home, while stopping the leak of any more royal dish. On to number 9, the secret room. All historic buildings have their secrets, and Westminster Abbey is no exception. Dating back to 1245, when King Henry III selected it as his burial site, the Abbey has spaces that the royals occupy but that remain unknown to the masses. One of these has recently been revealed to a select few. There's a hidden room located in the Parliament's Speaker's quarters, which the monarch traditionally sleeps in on the night before their coronation. The rarely seen room was made right before King Charles's coronation for the public, for only the second time during a brief recess period for guided tours. While photography is not allowed, a few images of the royal room that overlooks the Westminster Bridge have been made public, revealing its red flock wallpaper and stenciled ceiling. It is a grand room with a fireplace at each end, surmounted by a mirror, writes Stephen Little, who saw the room last year. He's referring to a shovel full-length mirror that would get moved to the royal robing room for use by Queen Elizabeth when she got ready for the state opening of Parliament, before being returned, according to London resident Laura Porter, who also took the tour. A portrait of the Speaker from 1976 to 1983, George Thomas, also hangs in the room. On to number 8, distant mother. Being Queen of England while also being a mom had to have been a tough road to travel, and it's highly likely Queen Elizabeth did her best. However, there are numerous anecdotes, articles, and even books that reference the idea that perhaps her best just wasn't good enough. It seems that Charles and Anne, her 2 oldest children, may have had a very different mother from Andrew and Edward, possibly to their detriment. Charles was often left in the care of nannies while his younger brothers were allegedly much closer to their mother. Edward was rumored to have been able to get away with almost anything due to his close relationship with Queen Elizabeth, which could explain why as an adult he went on to become a successful TV producer and editor for the BBC after leaving the Royal Navy in 2001. On to number 7, preventing Meghan from visiting the Queen. New details about the drama surrounding who was ultimately with the late Queen for her final hours, and why Meghan Markle's rift with the family meant Kate Middleton had to stay home. According to the Daily Telegraph, Kate reluctantly stayed back as William raced to Balmoral amid news the monarch's health was failing, traveling on a private jet with his uncles Prince Andrew and Prince Edward, along with Edward's wife Sophie. The publication reports that as the family gathered in the Scottish Highlands on September 8, Charles struck a deal with his son and daughter-in-law to keep Kate at home in a bid to prevent Meghan coming with Prince Harry. At the time, Meghan and Harry, already largely estranged from his relatives, were in Europe on a whirlwind work trip. Royal author, journalist, and commentator Robert Jobson explained that as relatives rushed to the Queen's side, Charles asked his son not to bring his wife, explaining if Catherine doesn't come, Meghan can't either. It's not appropriate for wives to attend. Harry was insisting Meghan travel with him to Scotland as the Queen's life ebbed away, but the King said it was only for the children and grandchildren to be with the Queen. Privately, he wanted to say Meghan was not welcome, but he couldn't say that to Harry, so he personally intervened and asked Kate to stay back so that it was fairer on Meghan. Kate deliberately stayed away, but she desperately wanted to be there with the Queen in her last moments, and that's eaten Kate up and has built up resentment towards Meghan. Jobson, whose new biography, Our King Charles III, The Man and the Monarch, will be released in Australia, and added that Charles was with his mother when she passed away at 310, along with Camilla, Princess Anne, and the Queen's longtime doctor. Sadly, William, Edward, Andrew, and Sophie arrived almost 2 hours too late at 5 p.m., while Harry didn't join them until just before 8. Harry opened up about the devastating hours surrounding his grandmother's passing in his memoir Spare, revealing that he'd first read the news of her passing on the BBC website after landing in Scotland. After Buckingham Palace issued a statement about the Queen's declining health, a spokesman for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex announced the duo would both be traveling to Scotland together. Charles was said to have discovered the Sussexes' plan to head to Scotland via the media, and Harry has revealed he called him shortly after. Then my father called again. He told me I was welcome at Balmoral, but without her, he wrote. Harry added he started to explain his reasons, but they didn't make any sense at all, and it was disrespectful as well. I didn't tolerate it from him. Don't even think about talking about my wife like that. Repentant, he said, stammering that he simply didn't want the place to be full of people. Nobody's wife was gonna go, not even Kate, he told me, so Meg shouldn't either. Number 6, Princess Diana. The top secret revealed by Diana was back in '95 when the princess agreed to sit down with BBC's Martin Bashir. In the interview, Diana opened up about her marriage to Charles, about her experiences with the royal family, and admitted that she had also had an affair during her marriage. She revealed that Charles's long affair with Camilla Parker Bowles made her feel worthless. There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded. Diana did not care and exposed Charles pretty badly with that. She said that she suspected Charles's staff was also waging a campaign against her. It's really sad to hear how much the charismatic and charming princess had to suffer. After the interview aired, Queen Elizabeth wrote to the couple, who at that point had been separated since 1992, and told them to proceed with their divorce. In the years following the release of the interview, it's been alleged that the BBC showed Diana's brother, Charles, fake bank statements that they claimed were proof that the media had been paying the royal family for information about Diana in order to convince her to tell her side of the story. Drama between the royals and the media is always entertaining for us, right? On to number 5, Charles's relationship problems. We all know that the relationship between the late Princess Diana and then Prince Charles was no secret. So when the news about them breaking up finally went public, many people became interested in them as individuals and as a failed marriage. Number 4, personal funds. Far from opening the royal family's wealth, inherited or otherwise, to scrutiny, astonishingly, there appears to be no study on this topic. The Queen successfully lobbied the government to change a draft law in order to conceal her embarrassing private wealth from the public. The Queen was also given a personal exemption from having her private estate searched for stolen or looted artifacts, and her household remained exempt from laws that ban race and sex discrimination. Although it is speculated that her personal wealth amounts to hundreds of millions of pounds, the exact amount is still unknown. The wealth is not all simply historical. It's instructive that the British monarchy gives itself the business name The Firm. Despite all the patriotic songs, it has offshore investments that don't pay taxes, like many other global corporations do. Additionally, Charles's mother's inheritance will not be subject to inheritance tax. The most crucial aspect of understanding the British monarchy and the Queen, who recently sat on his throne, is the politics of enormous wealth. A poet once said that the monarchy and the royal family serve as only the string that ties the robber's bundle. Their ultimate purpose is to emphasize the rich and powerful's right to make decisions. The Queen was one of the largest private landowners in the nation, continuing the earliest forms of feudalism. For the British monarchy, which sprinkles generous doses of charity on the populace while sitting comfortably at the interface of old wealth. Number 3, affairs. The late Diana and King Charles had a pretty rocky relationship, and it was never hard to see the lack of chemistry or affection in the couple. Diana was torn after finding out about the affair King Charles was having with Camilla. The affairs didn't even stop there. Diana confessed that she was also seeing other men during their rocky marriage, and since Charles had already admitted to Diana that he wasn't in love with her, it seemed the princess was gonna get love one way or another. Number 2, Camilla. According to King Charles's biographer, who spoke with Newsweek's Royal Report podcast, Queen Elizabeth always detested Camilla and only agreed to give her blessing for the royal to be known as Queen Consort because of an unspoken deal behind the scenes regarding Prince Andrew. Camilla, who is now Queen or the Queen Consort, first met Charles in the 70s, and the two were in and out of relationships ever since. Charles admitted to adultery when his marriage became irrevocably broken down in 1981, when his marriage to Diana began. Number 1, tax fraud. The family has been exposed numerous times and have been dealing with a number of issues, one of which is tax fraud. The late Queen was once exposed for concealing her wealth from the public. It was alleged that Queen Elizabeth's private attorney pressed ministers to modify the proposed legislation to prevent the public from learning about her shareholdings. Even though the Queen's actual holdings were never made public, we can only assume they were in the hundreds of millions of pounds range. Invested at least $13.1 million into offshore tax-sheltered funds located in the Cayman Islands and Bermuda, according to Newsweek. Party leaders and anti-monarchists investigated the Queen's finances, specifically her private funds, the Duchy of Lancaster. But number 10, brainwashing the prince. Harry has been called an unintelligent man who's been brainwashed by his wife into a rift with the royal family. Royal expert Tom Bower made sensational comments against the Duke and Duchess of Sussex before Harry dropped his memoir and the couple's Netflix docuseries. He said Harry is brainwashed would be the politest way of saying it into going along with it. He thinks he's been badly treated, but there is no doubt they are a great threat to the royal family. Bower continued, Harry is a very complicated, depressed, unintelligent, man who is seeking a role and really has nobody on whom he could rely, which in the end is where Meghan stepped in. A needy man met a woman who helped him with his needs. The author also claimed that Harry and Meghan were left angry as ever after allegedly being snubbed by the royals at Queen Elizabeth's funeral in September that year. Number 9, playing victim. Harry's newly formed and deeply damaging anti-royal beliefs are being peddled by Meghan Markle, according to some people, including royal author Tom Bower, who said this while speaking to American journalist Megyn Kelly. He started by branding the American very clever and added, "Don't think for a moment that she's not convincing quite a lot of people that somehow she was thrown to the wolves." If we look objectively at the couple since breaking away from the royal family, Meghan has gotten the better end of the deal. She's living in LA, her hometown, pitching Hollywood decision makers, voicing Disney Plus documentaries, and positioning herself as a woke cultural voice. Harry has given his family the cold shoulder and has reportedly been very depressed and feeling down. On top of that, he's thrown everything his grandmother has accomplished for the Commonwealth over the past 67 years under the bus, just to provide Meghan with yet another cause to pursue. Number 8, Princess Diana 2.0. Apparently Meghan always wanted one thing in life, and that's to become a member of the British royal family. Now, she's never confirmed that herself, but her friends say that she always had a fascination with the royals. According to some sources, this was all a part of Meghan's plan. She's wanted to be a princess since she was a teenager. Her old pal once said she was always fascinated by the royal family. She wants to be Princess Diana 2.0. She will play her role ably, but my advice to him is to tread cautiously. I'm not shocked at all. It's like she's been planning this all her life. She gets exactly what she wants, and Harry has fallen for her play. Even staging that fake car crash to make everybody believe that history is repeating itself is in true Meghan fashion, according to people. Number 7, the after effects of the memoir. From headlines to word of mouth, we all know Harry and Meghan's true story, but there's one book that takes longtime royal fans even more in depth. Revealing stories about the couple we only thought we knew. Finding Freedom, Harry and Meghan details the couple's romance, wedding, birth of their first child, and their decision to take a step back from royal duties. Authors Omid Scobie and Carolyn Durand take us far beyond the picture-perfect moments to the tough decisions this couple had to make in order to preserve their relationship and happiness. With this book, longtime royal fans may learn more about Harry and Meghan's new path outside of the royal family. Frustrated Meghan Markle is said to blame the damning royal revelations in Prince Harry's memoir for the couple's plunging popularity, according to a source. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex were on a roll until the book came out at the start of the year. It detailed a physical scrap with William and saw Harry brand Queen Camilla as dangerous. At the time, it was reported that Meghan had reservations about the book, and now a source close to the couple has told Heat magazine that she is kicking herself for not being more hands-on. After the humiliating cancellation of the couple's Spotify podcast contract and rumors of a lucrative deal with Dior falling flat, she appears to be placing the blame at her husband's feet. Number 6, introducing Meghan. When Harry introduced Meghan as his girlfriend, she was met with a lot of abuse and harassment, causing the palace to release a statement that read, Prince Harry is worried about Miss Markle's safety and is deeply disappointed that he has not been able to protect her. It's not right that a few months into a relationship, that Miss Markle should be subjected to such a storm. The November 2016 statement read, he knows commentators will say this is the price she has to pay and that this is all part of the game, but he strongly disagrees. This is not a game. It is her life and his. Before Harry and Meghan got engaged, there was reported tension between the couple and the Middleton family over her potential attendance at Kate's sister Pippa's and James Matthews' May 2017 nuptials. The drama between the family members and Harry and Meghan have always seemed to be relevant. For the most part, the royal family didn't appreciate how many protocols the couple had broken, but then again, the two didn't seem to have a problem with it. Number 5, trouble with staff. In November 2018, Harry and Meghan made headlines for moving to Frogmore Cottage in Windsor. Sources told us in December 2018 that Meghan struggled with royal rules regarding the press after she made headlines when her personal assistant and secretary quit 6 months after the pair's nuptials. It's just been frustrating and stressful to have no voice, a royal insider told us. They continued, she's always relied on her own voice to stand up for others and for herself, so not being able to say anything is a debilitating feeling. She's always been so independent her entire life, and that's all been taken away from her. She's always been able to clap back on social media, and now she can't. There were also reports at the time that palace staff didn't trust Meghan. While one staffer reportedly said she comes with a lot of baggage, another employee was allegedly overheard referring to her as Harry's showgirl. Yikes, it doesn't seem like many took a liking to Meghan when she arrived. After trying to deal with all the media and actions inside the palace, the couple then found their home in LA and soon enough became quite the rebellious pair. After she had sued tabloids, she criticized the royal institution for not taking action. On to number 4, mockery. Meghan mocking the royal traditions. Now, as many know, there is a scene in the series that shows Meghan doing an overly dramatic take of the royal curtsy she was to do when she met the Queen. While she's laughing it up, Harry is just staring at her as if he's annoyed with her mocking something that is part of his tradition. And now, seeing that he's uncomfortable by the mockery, it's definitely not a good look for Meghan at all. Other than the mockery, there have been several instances where Meghan chose to do what she preferred rather than respecting the rules of the royal family. Meghan's critics would say it was presumptuous of her to think that the centuries-old monarchy would suddenly change up its operations because of a newcomer. Meghan isn't known to be someone who's going to change herself just to please the people around her. There was a conversation where Meghan had to be reminded that she and Harry were not as high on the royal hierarchy as William and Kate because Harry is only 5th in line to the throne while William will become king. Number 3, unforgivable lies. Some people believe Harry and Meghan should be stripped of their titles for telling unforgivable lies, despite aspects of his own book being called into question. The couple has also been accused of hypocrisy. Their actions have been pretty problematic in the past couple of years, but what do you guys think? Are they hypocrites? Let me know in the comments. When his bombshell TV and podcast interviews dropped, creating a lot of controversy, Harry had to return to the UK to reunite with his family, which he only did twice. The first reunion took place in April when the Duke of Sussex flew to London to attend Prince Philip's funeral, and the second was to unveil the statue in honor of his late mother, Diana. Both times there was a lot of tension, I'm sure, between Harry and the royal family, and many were obviously upset and angry over the fact that Harry and Meg were publicly dissing the monarchy over the past year. And the controversial memoir has made quite a few people question Harry's intention. Highly sensitive information about family members is included, which obviously had not been discussed, like William being circumcised or Camilla being a villain. Just sounds like something Harry wanted to say to change the way people look at them. The memoir definitely is a stab in the back of his family, and it most definitely is not a good look for Harry or Meghan, who have come out more than once saying the family never supported them. On to number 2, pregnancy scandals. People spent months criticizing Meghan for how often and when she touched her pregnant belly, which is weird. We're not going to go further into this because it's vile and unwarranted criticism that unfortunately came from women as much as it did from men. As so often happens with famous women, fans and trolls alike treat a celebrity's body as if it's their own. So when Meghan's pregnancy began to be more noticeable, a conspiracy theory that she was using a prosthetic belly gained traction online. Meghan admitted no one was looking out for her, she broke the internet when she admitted in an interview while on tour that she was still really struggling to be under so much scrutiny as a new mom. And on to number 1, the codependent couple. Despite the royal family's take, Harry and Meghan have attested to their seemingly fairy tale romance. In a 2018 interview with BBC, the couple sat down to talk about the origins of their relationship. However, thoughts about Harry and Meghan's possibly codependent relationship have become a trending topic on Twitter, especially following the release of Harry and Meghan. One user tweeted, in part, they have the most unhealthy codependent relationship I've ever seen. Starting off with number 10, the rebrand. Queen Camilla. Many never thought it would actually come to this, but after the coronation of King Charles and his beloved wife, it's official that Camilla has completely rebranded from when she was first introduced as a part of the royals. Tina Brown, the former Vanity Fair editor, told Page 6, Camilla's is the greatest image rehab in history. She deserves a crown just for toughing it out. The crowning of Queen Camilla will be the culmination of a quarter of a century of intensive work by the king, their friends, and their counselors. Its most dramatic moment came last year when there was a sustained campaign to strong-arm Queen Elizabeth to endorse Camilla as queen consort shortly before her passing, multiple sources claimed. On February 5th, 2022, the eve of her Platinum Jubilee, the late queen wrote in a touching letter, "And when in the fullness of my time, my son Charles becomes king, I know you will give him and his wife Camilla the same support that you have given me, and it is my sincere wish that when that time comes, Camilla will be known as queen consort as she continues her own loyal service." She really finessed that. She really did. On to number 9, not accepted. According to Reader's Digest, Camilla and Prince Charles met in the early 1970s, and although their attraction was mutual, in some circles her reputation was frowned upon because she was known as an experienced woman. So then she went on to marry Andrew Parker in 1973 and has 2 children with him, Laura Lopez and Tom Parker Bowles. She also has 5 grandchildren who were a part of the coronation. After Charles and Diana divorced, and later after Diana passed away, Charles slowly started publicly introducing Camilla to the world as his partner. Diana famously told the BBC in a landmark interview in 1995 that there were 3 of us in that marriage, so it was a bit crowded. It was rare for anyone in royal circles to speak about their personal lives, and it revealed first-hand details about their broken relationship. In 2005, Charles and Camilla got married in a civil ceremony followed by a blessing at St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle. They were not allowed to get married in the Church of England as they are both divorced, according to CBS News. Number 8, pet names. Not too much of a dark secret, but knowing the pet names royals have for each other is nothing less than interesting, especially considering this started during their affair. During the course of their romantic relationship, much of which was allegedly during Charles's marriage to Diana, the couple regularly referred to each other using pet names they had. According to Town and Country magazine, they called each other Fred and Gladys for years. The names were apparently inspired by the characters on BBC radio show The Goon Show. Evening Standard reported that they used these names in love letters to each other, and it was their attempt at keeping their relationship secret. The publication also stated that during Diana and Charles's honeymoon, Diana found love letters between Charles and Camilla. She also reportedly took issue with her new husband for wearing the cufflinks that Camilla gifted him engraved with CNC for Charles and Camilla. Honestly, Charles was really much a savage for that. I can't even lie to you. But anyway, number 7, disapproval from the Queen. The extramarital affair between Prince Charles and Duchess Camilla rocked the crown to its core and put the final nail in the coffin of Princess Diana and Prince Charles's strained marriage. This is something that is well known to everyone. The prince's mother, Queen Elizabeth, was furious more than anyone else. For some time, no one was permitted to enter the palace, including the Duchess. In point of fact, the current monarch had refused to meet her prior to the year 2000, so she only met the Queen in that year. But at the reception for the Duchess and Prince, the Queen did say they have overcome Becker's Brook and the chair and all kinds of other obstacles. Extremely proud of them, wish them success now that they have prevailed, blah 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 blah. On to number 6, friends with Charles's wife. Before Diana learned that her fiancé was in love with another woman, she and Camilla were good friends. She even anticipated that she would be a part of her social circle following the royal wedding. Diana, on the other hand, realized before she and Charles got married that Charles still had a flame for his former partner, even though she was married at the time. Princess Diana stated that she wondered if Camilla was making a mistake when she saw her in the church on her wedding day. In her words, as a result, as I was walking down the aisle, Camilla in her gray pillbox hat and her son Tom standing on a chair caught my eye. Andrew Morton, Diana's biographer, recollected her saying, "You know, vivid memory to this day." Number 5, the worst kept affair. After a publicly disaster marriage, Diana and Charles split up in 92 and got a divorce in 96. One of their main disagreements was his open affair with Camilla, which was the monarchy's worst kept secret. Diana told Martin Bashir in the infamous Panorama interview, "There were 3 of us, so it was a little crowded." However, this is what actually happened. After being advised by friends to ignore suspicions of an affair between Prince Charles and friend Camilla, Princess Diana felt that she had to give her husband's mistress a piece of her mind, according to recordings from National Geographic that have been archived. When they approached Camilla about the affair, Charles and Diana appeared to have been aware of what they were getting themselves into. Camilla and Prince Charles were conversing with a different friend downstairs when Diana asked to talk to her alone. According to the recording, Diana remembered Charles rushing upstairs to inquire about her plans. Diana had this man shaking and throwing up. Little did he know, she already knew. Despite the Princess of Wales' assertion that she was terrified of Camilla, Diana boldly stated to her, "I'd just like you to know that I know exactly what is going on." Camilla tried to disprove the claim by claiming she had no idea what Diana was talking about, and Diana recalled Camilla saying that she had everything she could ever want and all the men in the world. When asked what else she could want, Diana simply told Camilla, "I just want my husband." It's important not to overlook these little-known details about Charles and Diana. Strangely, Diana apologized to Camilla for interfering with her and Charles, but she remained furious. She stated, "I do know what is going on to Camilla. Please do not treat me like an idiot." Diana and Charles split up and started seeing other people while they were still married, and Diana had a number of relationships, including one with the heart surgeon Hasnat Khan, and later Dodi Al Fayed, the man she was dating when they passed away. Charles remained with Camilla during this time, and the undertaking of Prince Charles is known to the overall population. However, by attending and leaving separate events, he and Camilla attempted to conceal their relationship. Number 4, spilling the beans. If Diana had survived and gotten married as expected, Charles and Camilla probably would have married much earlier. Instead, they kept their relationship private and out of the public eye for a number of years. The Prince of Wales married his longtime partner in 2005, and even though she technically had the option to do so out of respect for Diana, she did not style her name as Princess of Wales. Number 3, what is the staff hiding? Prince Charles's affair with Camilla was once kept a secret from Diana, even by the cleaning staff. At least they tried to. Followers of the royal family are aware of the Prince of Wales' affair with the Duchess of Cornwall, which took place while Charles was married to Diana, and it's safe to assume that some members of the royal family are unhappy that their affair is featured in Netflix's The Crown, making it one of the most significant royal relationship scandals. But it would have been harder to find juicy details about their affair if it wasn't for The Crown, so can't even be mad about it. In 1995, the prince's valet Ken Stronach revealed shocking details about Charles's affair in a well-known interview with News of the World. He even lost his job because he broke confidentiality. At the time, Stronach claimed that after Charles would sneak out of bed in the middle of the night to meet with Camilla, he would clean grass stains from his pajamas. He mentioned how he was careless and took a big risk, but he doesn't even care about Diana. Ouch. After Charles's midnight romps, a source claimed that there was mud and muck everywhere, and they had clearly been working outside, which was evident. Charles even ruffled up his bed with his staff to make it look like he had slept in it. Even though it was very complicated, no one was fooled. The valet asserted that the strain of keeping Charles's secrets made him sick. During his time with Charles, he told the newspaper, "We've all been told not to speak to anyone about anything due to the strain of keeping his secrets. I became very ill." It's clear that the firm still doesn't like to talk about this royal stuff, even though Prince Charles has admitted to the affair and married Camilla. Number 2, unfit for the king. In the early 70s, Charles and Camilla first met. After friends introduced them, the prince fell in love right away. In her book, The Duchess, royal biographer Penny Jura wrote, "Camilla claims that the Duchess was not in any way overawed by him, not fawning or sycophantic." After the prince left with the Royal Navy in 1973, Parker Bowles accepted the proposal from her on and off boyfriend Andrew, despite the strong bond they had. But the palace didn't think Camilla would be a good fit for the king. Even if things had worked out well for the two of them, she did not come from an aristocratic family, which was important in those days, but look at who came out on top. Now she's the queen. And finally, number 1, the big affair. Even though it's not a secret, Camilla was trying to hide a high-profile affair from the whole world. Charles and Camilla made every effort to keep their extramarital affair from Diana and the rest of the world, despite the fact that the Princess of Wales was well aware of it. Before Diana and Charles filed for divorce, Camilla was regarded as a villain. She was also resented right up until the Princess of Wales' untimely passing in 1997. However, in the days that followed that tragic incident, Camilla's life went significant change. Princess Diana's misfortune was not specifically attributed to the Duchess of Cornwall. They did, however, discover a newfound hatred for her greatest foe after Diana's passing in the car accident. Camilla was forced to hide for months as the situation got worse because of the hatred. But that is all for today. Let me know what you think about this dark history with Camilla and how she ended up becoming queen. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more juicy royal updates and news on your favorite celebrities.